So in this episode, we're going to check out the Figma to Webflow plugin. We're going to see how you can update styles, variables, and even copy components between your Figma designs and the Webflow project. As of this video, the Figma to Webflow plugin recently got an update, so we'll be viewing their most recent up-to-date version. So without further ado, let's jump to it. So the Figma to Webflow plugin has gotten a lot of mixed opinions over the past, I think, 2 years. It's been out now. As you can see, there are a lot of comments on the Figma page, and a lot of them are problems with auto layout, some synchronization problems, and as you can see, it's still something that is in the works. However, recently there has been an update, and I think this new update is very, very useful, and soon we're gonna have a look at how it works. So first, just to go over how to install this, first you'll need to get the Figma to Webflow plugin on Figma. So you can go to the community pages and look for this, and then once you're on this page, you can open it, and then you choose the file that you want to open it in. Now in my case, I want to open it on this file, which is a template by Bricks. Shout out to Bricks. So this template, as you can see, has the design files, all the design files, and it has a style guide. So as you can see, we have style guides. They're already set up, so you can see heading and the type of heading and the paragraphs and all the colors and all that. And it doesn't have variables. However, I just added some variables for the sake of testing, so we can see how these works. Now on Webflow, I have the relevant page. So I have this page, it's already built on Webflow. Everything is as per the designs that are here. So these are both templated. So what I want to do is to be able to sync between the changes that happen here and what happens here, and at least be able to sync the variables, the styles, and if anything changes, I want to be able to just synchronize that. So let's see that in action. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, of course, go open the Figma to Webflow plugin on Figma. So I'm going to go to Figma and turn on the plugin. And as you can see, it is already connected to some project that I have. So I'm just going to sign out of this project. I'm going to connect it to the one that we're working on, and of course it's going to show you how you can go through the steps. So we're going to connect the plugin, and we're going to connect it to this template. So it's going to be called Medica Webflow, and then we're going to authorize it, and now it's successfully connected. So I can go back to my project, I can click on get started, and as you can see, it's here. And if I click on the selected project, I can see the Medical Webflow is right here, so I can select it. I'm going to go back to my Medical Webflow project, and I'm going to refresh, and then I'm going to design here, and then I'm going to go to Webflow apps, and I'm going to go to Figma to Webflow plugin. I'm going to launch this app, and as you can see, we're just going to move it a bit here. I'm all caught up, everything is synchronized, so that's great. Now let's go back to our project and let's see how we can synchronize stuff. So first I want to synchronize the style. So I have these styles as per the style guide. So these, let's say the headings, the paragraphs and all that. I want to synchronize those to Webflow. So let's do that. So we have 16 styles and we're going to sync them to Webflow. Now it says ready to import, open your site in Webflow and launch the Figma to Webflow app to import. So we have the Figma to Webflow app ready, and as you can see, this is the one I just sent. It's 16 styles. It's sent ready to import. It's not imported yet. So I'm going to open it and I'm going to see what's there. So I can see that there are some styles that are there. I can select and deselect some of them, and of course choose the ones that I want, and then import selected items. And that's basically it. So now if I look for this, let's say I'm looking for H2. So if I look for the H2, I can see text headings H2. Now the namings is a little bit off. However, this is the one that I synchronized from Figma. So you can see it has a font size 36, and that will be this one. So you see heading H2, and if I click on it, it's 36 and 42 height. And that would be the same one. Now let's try to do this with variables. Now variables are more comprehensive. However, because they're more recent on Figma themselves, it's a bit less used so far. However, it's much better to use variables in this sense because they synchronize really well, and you can very easily synchronize changes. So For example, I have these two variables, Figma variable color, figs, and let's change this to the native blue. So I'm gonna get this native blue color, and I'm just gonna add it here. So this is the blue, and this is a green color that is random. Now let's synchronize those. We go back to our Webflow app, and then we go to variables, and we can see those two variables are already here. Now you can have other collections, you can have other modes, but in this case, we just have this one. So we're gonna sync these two variables to Webflow, and then we're gonna go to Webflow. Now you can see, again, it's right here, two variables, and click on them. Comparing variables, these are the two variables. I'm gonna import them, and they're successfully imported. Now if I go to my variables page, my base collection, I can see these two variables are right here. Now let's say the designer decided to change the shade of blue and have it lighter. Let's say they decided to make it like this. So they changed it. Now you can easily just synchronize this change by going to the app, or to the plugin in this case. You click on variables and you synchronize. You can synchronize everything. You can synchronize the specific one that you changed. However, when you go back to Webflow, and you can see I have ready to import, when I click on this, I can see that something's up. So I don't have both variables to synchronize because one of them didn't change. So that's easier. And I can see that something changed here. So this color changed. So that's what I need to import. So I'm just going to import it. And if you go back here, you can see it already updated my Figma variable color. Now this is very useful. I mean, this is a very simple use case, but when this gets more variables, and you can see a lot of different types of variables. Now in this case, we're just using colors. However, on variables, you have more variable options that you can choose from, and then you synchronize those with Webflow, and you keep up with the changes that are done from Figma to Webflow. Now the final bit is updating or migrating layers. Now this is great, however, it will require some settings that you'll need to do. And first of all, it's setting up everything in auto layout. So if it's not in auto layout, it might ask you that, hey, this is not set in auto layout, so set it up. However, again, the layers bit is very limited in the sense of synchronizing between this and Webflow. I wouldn't rely on it too much myself. I would go more for the variables and styles when using this plugin or app, but this is up to you, and depending on the use case, this might be working, this might be useful, and that's for you to share with us in the comments and let us know what you think. How do you use this plugin if you ever use it? Finally, if you're liking this type of content, make sure to subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and stay tuned on what's coming next. See you in the next one.